Over the next few minutes, I'm going to try and summarize the structure and contents of a B1 English test at Escuelas Oficiales de Idiomas in Aragon. I'm making this video especially for Year 4 secondary students. If you are an adult and are taking the B1 English exam, probably these ideas will help you as well. However, bear in mind that I'm targeting specifically Year 4 secondary students, that this is specially for them. As you probably know, the so-called pruebas de certificación, the EOI tests, are exactly the same across Aragon in every single Escuela de Idiomas, and they are official tests. They have official validity across Spain. As I said, I'm going to be concentrating on the possibilities offered available to Year 4 secondary students. If you are studying at a bilingual school within the bilingual project in a school called Brit Aragon, you will be able to take this B1 English exam in your school, and it will probably happen in the middle of a school year, and your teachers will let you know about your exams. If you are studying in a different school, maybe in a bilingual project, but not the so-called Brit Aragon, or maybe you're taking part in so-called Palais projects in English, again, your teachers will let you know about it. You will be able to take the B1 English exam as an alumno libre, but you will have to take that exam in a Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, in the escuela which is close to your school, close to where you live. So, for those of you who are in Year 4 secondary and can take this exam, if you are a student in one of these Brit Aragon schools, you will have a specific exam. Your exam will be different to the official exam, and all the papers, all the parts of the exam, somehow the content will be suitable for your age. So everything will be related to schools, to teenage people, related to your interests and to things you can understand, topics you can understand and talk about. If you have to take the exam in Escuela Oficial de Idiomas as part of a Palais project, the written part of the exam will be the same as everybody else. And the difference is that in the oral exam, in your speaking test, the topics will be chosen according to your age and to your interest as well. So that would be similar to the Brit Aragon students. If you want further details, if you want more information and more detailed information about the structure of the exam and the times and everything, please click on this link. You will be able to find it below, which is the official guide for students with the official exam specifications. What I'm going to do in the next few slides is just try and summarize it for you. So in the test, you will have a written part of the exam and an oral part of the exam. What you can find in purple, these are the parts you will be taking on the day of the written exam. So you will be doing first a reading comprehension exercise, well, 2 or 3 probably, then some listening comprehension exercises, then you will have to write 2 writing tasks. One will be a so-called production written task, and then there will be an interactive writing task. But anyway, two compositions, let's say. And then before that, you will also have to do something called mediation in writing. And I'm going to explain that in more detail in my next video. That mediation in writing, you will find a text in English and you will have to mediate it for somebody else into English as well. So this is what you will take probably on an afternoon, and this will be your written exam. And then on a different day, you will take your oral exam, and then this will be the order. First, you will take something called mediation in speech, That will be the first thing you will do in your exam. Again, I will explain in a video what it is, and you will have something in Spanish and you will have to mediate it into English. It's not exactly translating, I will explain later. So mediation in speech would be the first thing you would have to do. Then you would have an individual production. You will have to speak independently, you will have to speak alone for some minutes. And then finally, you will have to interact with somebody else. You will have to speak with a partner or maybe two people. Very probably, in all likelihood, you will have to speak just to somebody else. Each paper, each part of the exam is scored out of 20. 20 points is the maximum you can get in each part of the exam. So to pass the exam, you need to get a minimum of 10, a minimum of 10 for listening comprehension, minimum of 10 for writing, minimum 10 mediation, and minimum 10 for speaking. However, even if you pass every single part, you may not pass the exam because you need to do two things. Number one, pass each part, and then also your final score, your final mark needs to be 65 to get the B1 certificate. So even if you pass every single part, you wouldn't get the B1 unless you get 65%. For example, if you pass every part but you get 57, I'm sorry, that would be a no. And then there's another thing which might be a bit confusing. Let me explain it. These parts of the exam are very clear because you take the reading comprehension tasks when you take the written test, you take your listening comprehension tasks when you take the written test, writing when you take the written test, and speaking when you take your oral test, your speaking test. However, the mediation part of the exam is taken in 2 different days. You are examined in 2 different days. On the day of the written exam, you will do mediation in writing. And on the day of the oral exam, you will do the mediation task, mediation in speaking. So your mark is not 2 separate marks, okay? But rather, it is a combination of both. It's the sum of what you do in your mediation in writing and your mediation in speaking. Imagine, for example, in reading comprehension, you will probably have 2 different tasks. So it's the same idea. The only difference is that you take reading on the same day, and mediation, you take it on different days. But the mark you're going to get is the sum of both mediation in writing and mediation in speaking. This is basically what I've told you before. This has been taken from the official guide for candidates. As you can see, you have reading comprehension, listening comprehension, mediation, written production and interaction, and speaking production and interaction. And as I said, this is what you get. Each part carries exactly the same value, and out of 20, you need to get 10, which is 50%, and to get your B1 certificate, you need to have 65% in total. In the written exam, you will take reading comprehension. You will have 3 exercises, and it lasts for 50 minutes maximum. Listening comprehension, you will have 3 exercises for a maximum of 30 minutes. Mediation, in the written exam, you will only have 1 task, which I will explain later, and it will last for a maximum of 30 minutes. And then writing, you will have 2 exercises, 2 tasks. One is a bit longer than the other, and you will have 1 hour to do it. So as you can see, it's a rather long exam, the written exam. It lasts almost 3 hours. There's a break in the middle. Okay, so you can relax for a bit and stretch your legs, etc. On the day of the oral exam, you will do first your mediation exercise, your mediation in speaking. You will be able to prepare it for 3 minutes, and then you will have to speak. You will have to mediate the text for 2 minutes. And then you will have to speak individually about something. The text you will get, or the topic, however, the topic you will get is related to the mediation text you will be given. And then finally, with your partner, you will have your conversation, your interaction. You will prepare it for 2 minutes and you will speak for 3 minutes. As I said, you have some preparation time for both mediation and production. So you prepare your mediation and your production at the same time. You will be given these 3 minutes and 2 minutes. So you will be given 5 minutes to prepare. But you have to prepare both your mediation and your production. And as I said, they will be related. They will be about the same topic. For mediation, as I will explain later, you will get a text. For production, you will get a set of questions for you to answer. And there will be an excuse for you to talk about the topic, okay? But, as I said, these 5 minutes you will get are time for you to prepare both mediation and production. Both candidates will do their mediation and their production, and then at the end of the exercise, at the end of the exam, both of you will have 2 minutes to prepare your interaction. You will not be able to speak between you, and then once these 2 minutes are over, then you will have to speak, you will have your conversation for 3 minutes with your partner. All the candidates have 2 opportunities to pass the exam and to get a certificate. One of them is a so-called convocatoria ordinaria, and the other one is the so-called convocatoria extraordinaria. So, if you pass every single part in the convocatoria ordinaria and you get more than 65%, you get your B1 and that's it. There's nothing else for you to do. If you didn't get it, different possibilities may happen. Imagine that you passed every single part. You passed reading, writing, listening, speaking and mediation, but you didn't get 65%. So, the Escuelas Idiomas give you the possibility to sit as many parts of the exam as you want, again, to repeat the parts of the exam that you want. If you want to repeat every part, that's okay, because they will keep the best mark. If your best mark for reading was in the convocatoria ordinaria, they will take the one you got in the ordinaria. If you get a better one in the extraordinaria, then this is the one they will keep. So, as I say, if you want to take all the parts, or if you say, no, I'm not going to improve my result in listening, but I wouldn't mind trying again my writing, for example. So you have nothing to lose because the best mark out of the 2 convocatorias is kept. The only thing, remember, you need to tell your Escuela de Idiomas beforehand. Before the day of the exam, you have to tell them because they have to organize a lot of people. A second possibility is if you failed some parts. Imagine you failed, for example, writing, or you failed writing and speaking. In that case, you have to sit only the parts of the exam you failed. You can't repeat in that case, you can't sit again the parts that you passed. You can only sit the parts of the exam that you failed, and only those. I'm sure you're familiar with reading, writing, listening and speaking exams and exercises, as you must be taking them on a regular basis in your schools. However, this idea of mediation might be strange to you. You may not have heard of it before. So, if you would like to know more about mediation, if you would like to know what that is and what you are expected to do at the exam at the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, please watch the videos after this, which I hope will be useful to you to understand what it is and for you to take the exam.